Hi, tech support's back, so we have two cameras. Isn't that fun? And it makes it so much easier to see the garden when I don't have to go whoop, 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 whoop. So nobody's here yet. I'm just talking to myself. I don't know if that's a healthy thing to do or not, but I'm doing it because I just get bored sitting here. I did a quick roll on today's meeting, and it said that the mind was in path forward, and as you can tell, the fickle flower of fate is on path forward, which means that's the area of the garden. Hi, Ronnie. Good to see you. It's nice to not be sitting here by myself for a while. I only started about less than a minute ago. Hi, Kathy G. So good to see all of you. I'm going to announce this now. I'm going to announce it in the middle. I'm going to announce it at the end. Tomorrow at this time, I will be on Sheila Celtic Tarot's network, on her channel, because we are going to be doing the thing I do about politics. She wanted me to, after we did How to Run as a Candidate, she asked me if I would come and discuss what it's like to, how to get active in the political world, because she's beginning to understand that if we're all not doing our best and picking what we most want to work around. Yeah, great. Yeah, he had a good restorative time on his vacation. Yeah, he hopped down here and in 2 minutes flat he fixed this whole problem, and I said, he showed me how. We'll see if I can do it next time. He had a lovely vacation. He brought me back a cookbook from South Carolina, because I collect cookbooks. When I used to travel a lot, I used to bring back cookbooks from all of the places where I was, because I really like food. And he developed a love of she crab soup, so I'm going to have to figure that recipe out. But he also brought me back a lot of spice mixes from Charleston, South Carolina, which is, they have very, very, very interesting, good spices that are not typical to what I use. Thank you, Jolynn. And so I'll let you know how that goes. Today I'm making vegetable broth, because we had corn the other night and I stripped all the corn off the cobs, and it makes a really good, rich vegetable base. I make my own broths in my Instapot because I got the leftover junk. I may as well use it. I make bone broth. I make kick-ass bone broth. And I make mushroom broth, which a friend of mine got addicted to, and about every 2 weeks I put together a whole thing of mushroom broth. I also make really, really good onion soup, which I happen to like. I think it's a wonderful flavor, and I don't get bored with it. And I figured out a way to make it so it's sort of keto. Onions are never going to be completely keto, because do you know there's more glucose and more sugars in an onion than there is in an orange, if it's the same size? I didn't know that, but I found out when I looked at the carbs that are in an onion. But there are ways around that. Okay, so mushroom broth, yum, yes, and it's really restorative. For my friend, it was great. It really helped her. She'd go in and she'd drink it cold. Now, I'm not that hardcore. What I saw today in the stones that I rolled is that we're dealing with a lot of our values from the past. Our mind is our path forward, and that's interesting because I did path forward. This is one weird section in the garden, let me tell you. The body's right in the middle, so it's seeking balance, and spirit's in the future, so we're going to be talking about some future things. So the first thing I did today was, actually I did it last night, I pulled my stone for us to look at, and it's pink tourmaline. And pink tourmaline is absolutely gorgeous. I have 2 pieces of jewelry on me that are pink tourmaline. I have my ring, that's pink tourmaline, or some people call it watermelon tourmaline. And then I have to take off my necklace. And the pink tourmaline, I'm going to hold it up. It's against a malachite heart. I wear these two together. The pink tourmaline is this little fan-like thing, and I've had that pink tourmaline for like 40 years. I picked it up years ago, and it's an incredible protection stone. So I'm going to talk about pink tourmaline now. Okay. The vibe around the pink tourmaline is forgiveness. It's the heart. It's totally heart chakra. It's protect your heart. It's sweet, it's soft, and it's an incredibly vibrant stone. It has the wisdom of surrender. It teaches us to fill our hearts with grace. It assists us in releasing blame and guilt. It heals. Heal's going to be an important thing in today's reading. It lets you get the magic, as in the magic with the K in it, the extra magic that comes in that gets you in the flow. And a thing about healing, because I did a reading today for someone and it reminded me of this. Healing doesn't mean that the damage never happened or existed, but healing means that the damage no longer controls us. And I talked about that a little bit when I was talking about my weight loss. I had to heal my heart so that my energy could flow through my body. Tourmaline's great for that. I've shown you my giant piece of black tourmaline that I use to protect my house. This is my tiny little piece of tourmaline that protects my heart. And it's a gorgeous stone. It balances your head and your heart. Yeah, you can wear them even in your own home. That's a good, wherever you are. Thank you guys for all your little emojis. That's fun. Oh, okay, Andrea, if I looked at the questions about it 45 minutes ago, so if you put it on in the last 45 minutes, I don't have it. I only have 2 questions off the page. And one is a person who's been studying several different energy modalities and is thinking about going into quantum healing. And so they've studied different sorts of energy things through Brian Weiss and when I looked at this, I'm going to do a roll on it for this person about whether or not they should pursue quantum healing in the future. I'm going to take you off path forward. Okay. You can invite anybody into your garden and you can put anything on your garden. Your garden is you, okay? But I'm going to do this person right now who wants to know about going forward with quantum healing. Yes, and your spirit's definitely being moved there. The couple questions you have about it is, I think one is making enough money at doing it and leaving something that's secure. Your mind misleads you, but if you plant it into the earth, it will come forward. That physical changes will come that will prove to you that this is what you're supposed to be doing. Your body's between earth and air, which means it's just telling you to ground your thoughts. And that's another one where changes are coming. Some signs, some omens, some words, something's coming towards you, but I think it's going to be more like a physical thing that you see or you hear. For your clarity. Clarity and mind are this together. It says you need to start dealing with more originality about creating a career here, so it's going to take a little more thought work. But your spirit's already way out ahead of everybody else, and it's your spirit's ready to be there. Your problem's bringing the body and the mind along. But I think it'd be a great thing for you. I don't see didn't hit anything that looks negative. Okay, we're going to talk about path forward. And path forward was weird. I had this dream last night when I woke up. I went, I don't know what the hell part of the garden I was even in. This is so strange. But what happened was I was inside of a more open structure, but it was a structure. It was like a house. I was on a track. It was not an oval track. It was like flower petals. It was like you were riding this cart and going around and around and around in this flower petal, and you kept crossing across the same crux. It was going on for unending loops, and then you'd stop, and I'd check the outcome, and it was exactly what it had been for the last few times I went around this damn flower. And I was expecting those numbers to change. Frustration began to build in my body, like almost like a deja vu, like I've done this over and over and over again, and why am I feeling locked into this? Same people, same energy, same skills, same outcome was what I heard. So if you just keep riding around and around and around in this little loopy thing, that's what's going to happen. Colors became muted because it wasn't bright in there. The air felt okay when I started, but man, it was very dense. Until I acknowledged I have to take some kind of action. And the action was to go, the action I'd been doing was inside the building, and actually I needed to go outside where there was plenty of cool, flowing air, and it was lighter and brighter. My body all of a sudden wasn't tense, energy wasn't trapped inside me, the frustration was let go, it broke free. And then I heard the quote, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. And then I said, where am I? I said, wake up in the morning and look at this narrative, because I'd written it out. I always write these things in my sleep. I wrote it out in my sleep. And when I woke up this morning, I realized it's the path forward. And the path forward requires us to, which I tried to do yesterday and it just didn't work very well. The path forward means that we walk out into that void. We make the change. The path forward means going forward, not sticking where you are, not being anchored to what you think you know, what you think you feel. And that's why Pink Tourmaline is such a perfect stone for today, because one of its things is to surrender to wisdom and to release blame and guilt. And I think that little track I was on was when we internally just keep going, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do it this way. Instead of taking what's obviously the path forward, instead of looking for the clearer way, we keep doing what we should be doing over and over again. So that's the path forward in the garden, and I told you that's a weird one. I was not expecting it to be that strange, but I don't know why I should expect anything to be strange or not be strange. And one of the other readings I pulled out this morning when I went to one of these books that I read a lot of stuff off of, the message today was life can be scary. And life can be a roller coaster. Except in my case, it was like a racetrack that you couldn't get off. It's full of highs and lows. It's full of twists and turns. And even if you enjoyed those unexpected thrills at first, you kind of get tired of them. And sometimes you're like, wait a minute, can this not get settled? Our fears often revolve around our own physical safety. If we're not feeling well, if we're living under difficult circumstances, or work or lack of work exposes us to insecurities. Fear can also be the loss of a loved one. And also fear can be new things. It can be starting a new school, starting a new job, trying a new venture. Somebody said, man, I opened up the garden and I threw the stones and I just kind of froze. I didn't know what to do. You just take 6 deep breaths before you start working with it. That will help. Everybody gets scared. And part of the way to live successfully is to acknowledge your fear, to acknowledge that it's there. And then you can work your way away from it. Because as long as we're saying, oh, I'm not afraid, and we're sitting inside like our little car on the racetrack and move the path forward, there's no path forward if you're going on the same loop. You have to break the path, move forward, get out, move things ahead. And sometimes that can be admitting it to ourselves. Sometimes it can be sharing our apprehension with other people so they can give us a sense of balance about what to do with it, so that we kind of know where to go. I was always very lucky in having people near me that we could, okay, I got a question. I got to click this or I lose them. Okay. But sharing our fears, it lightens our burden. Just like I said, when you walked outside of being caught in that little loopy racetrack and you let it go, you could go outside where you could be unburdened and you could see the way forward. And even if the way forward is a void, it's better than staying looped up in that little twisty, twisty, twisty world. And remember, you're not alone. And try and find people who will be with you when you're not alone. Okay, Deb wants a health reading. Okay, let's see. What's the situation around Deb's health? I'm just doing a general one. If I see something specific, I'll let you know. Okay, see Deb's health. Okay. I think whatever it is you think you're battling, first of all, you got the one perfect stone there, and you got the, okay. You got the stone that's on, it covers crown chakra, tree of life, true, water, air, and future. And it's a lovely corner in the garden for if you want to get stuck somewhere. The crown says, you have confidence to build on what you're learning. The tree of life says, some things can appear to be deceptions, but they're not. Recognizing the abundances go beyond the physical. Learn to live in harmony. True tells you that you will be seeing very clearly what's going to happen. You have changes in your vision coming forward in the near future. Your mind is in a good space about this. Mental actions are helping you. And you got future, which was one I didn't read. Future is all the gifts are not yet recognized. So what this is saying is these three things say you have all the abilities to get through this. This says you don't know all that you need to know yet. But these two say that if you stay balanced, you can move yourself forward. Your sacral chakra, which is where you begin to come up with creative solutions for things, says you're going to have to work creatively with your doctors. I think you may have done this in the past, and you kind of know you well enough to be able to get it through to them. But your body's right in the middle, and when the body falls right in the middle of the four elements, it means ground your thoughts, embody your past, physical changes are coming, and using grounding elements to help you. So it says, this means ground, get your feet on the ground, that's going to help you. Your mind's a little slow in coming into this game. It's in Earth right now, but it's moving forward. More is going to be brought forward to help you, but your spirit's in air, and that's a good place for your spirit to be when you're sick. Okay, spirit's going to transform your thinking. So what I see from this is you had something in the past. This is going to roll out somewhat like that. You learned from it. You're not sure. There's still some information you don't have, which is why your mind's here. But overall, I think you're going to, with this in the corner, if you have a health problem, you're going to solve it, or you've already solved it, so you don't need to worry about it. Okay, let's give Ruby Blue some good light. She's been sick. One of her brothers died while she was sick, and she's got another brother going through some trials. So let's send some light and love towards Ruby, because she certainly has a stack of stuff going against her, but this is going to motivate you and move you forward, and it's going to come out okay. Yes, pink tourmaline is perfect for someone who's doing a caretaker, because the pink tourmaline, that's why I used to wear it on this heart. That's why it's matched with this heart. I used to wear it every time I read, because it protected me from any energy that wasn't good for my own heart. Okay. I'm going to see if her husband's going to find a new job, and we're going to, okay, board, give me a season where this man's going to find the job that really suits him. Okay, and that's, well, he's going to find a job because my value stone just sort of spread out all over the earth, but it's something he may be looking at right now. I think it'll be established in the fall. He got great cards for this. The problem was, I think when you moved where you moved, you weren't aware of a lot of things. Use ideas you carry from your past to live, or past lives to make solutions. I think he had a different opinion of where you were moving, what would be able to help him. His body, his body's getting grounded. He's beginning to understand what he really can do. Now these are where the action is. So in the heart chakra, the mind is being opened up. I think he's opening his mind up to some other things he hadn't thought about, and they're actually going to be really good for him. But the throat is what's expression and communication he's in right now. Yeah, he just needs to be really upfront with people about what he wants, but I think he's in the process of looking at something right now that could turn out to be really good. But it's going to be this fall. It's going to be in the fall. The flaking you saw on the pyrite is why my pyrite is not sealed, because it was part of my group of prototype when we just were trying different things, and we found that the pyrite could flake, and it was also could get kind of dirty. So we now seal. That's the only stone we touch. We seal that one with polyurethane, because otherwise it just cuts you up all over the place. Okay, let's see if life is good. When will life is good? Okay, I'm going to say another job. This could be remotely, or it could be working in an environment if you need to be like in a fixed structure. So, woo, definitely this fall. Definitely this fall. You've just been interviewing for something, and this says go for it. You felt like it was true. You felt like it really fit you. Pursue that job. I mean, they may be confused right now, because I have a friend who's looking for work. He has a job. He's looking for another job. And they keep telling him that because all the protocols are changing in offices, it's kind of screwing his move up, although they're now trying to work with him how he could work from home. Your body is in the path forward, which I just told you, that's where you're spinning your wheels. You have to need to get out of worrying about what's happened before and see your way forward, because you've got some really good stones over here that say Spirit, going in the right direction, but you need clarification, and your values are your value of what you want to do may need some reconsidering. You may need to think about a little outside the box, but your mind is working overtime, and you're looking at things you've done before. But you maybe need to look at what you've done and sort of tweak your resume, or tweak when you're looking at jobs to fit the newer circumstances that people are in. Okay? But I think definitely this fall. And it may be, I think you're going to have something earlier in the fall, but I think it's going to get real permanent by late fall. Oh, okay. Let's see if Jolynn's grandson's going to change his ways. Well, yeah, he's going through a spiritual change right now, but I don't think it's one you can help him with. There's a lot of stones on here that say be independent. His clarification's coming in the near future. It's actually already starting to happen right now a little bit. This says there's a variety of paths he has to pick from, but ideas planted at this time will flourish. His body is in air. He's grounding his thoughts. He's coming back around to see some things that he hadn't seen before, but it's really where his mind is that's most important in this one. He's letting go of some of the limitations. I don't know if he's been just with bad friends or if he's had some bad habits, but he's letting go of those limitations, and he's got his values in heart, and that's grounding. or changing his values. And it says, encourages understanding. He's going through a spiritual rebirth, because this one is encouraging understanding beyond the physical body. He's going for it. But I think something's happened to him physically that has made him have to seriously rethink what he's doing, Grandma. So I think it shows right now he's moving. By the end of this summer, I think you'll see some real changes in him. Yep, it's really, when I first had that dream, I was like, what the hell am I doing dreaming this? But I think when I finish filling that out, for those of you who have not been around for all of the classes, what I'm doing is every night, well, most every night, some nights I get distracted by other things, but I'm channeling a different part of the garden. And most of the times, today was weird because I had no idea what part of the garden I was looking at, but I've done all of them except sacral chakra, heart chakra, throat chakra, third eye, insight, crown, enlightenment, tree of life, and earth. And the last on these things, the word ones, future, present, path forward, false, restate, path. Anyway, make a long story short, I have these dreams and I'm in this situation, and I know because the clarity, I don't have these kind of clear dreams often. And I'm looking at a place, feeling a place, I feel the whole. Well, that he may find help in prison. I didn't see prison time. I saw someone getting a hold of him. He may go on a strict probation or being given a chance to go into another program, Grandma. I hope so, but if not, he's definitely changing. This is definitely going to be what shakes him up and gets him loose. But what I do is at night, I have these dreams. I write them in my phone, which is always by my bed. Then when I wake up in the morning, I transcribe them into a book where I'm keeping, and when I finish all the sections of the garden and some other information that my guides have given me, I'm going to create a PDF that will go along with the garden. Right now, what everybody has is what I call my cheat sheets. They look something like this. And they're keywords. So if clarity falls in, caught between restate and past, that stone means clarity, and it says use lessons you've learned to find your answers. And then being in restate, it says look for patterns that will be of value to you now. But now I know a lot more. I know that restate, I didn't have any idea what restate would look like, but when I woke up in my dream, I was in this overgrown, jungly kind of mess. And restate means when you have a stone fall there like this one, to clarify it, you need to really sit down and think about what weeds you can pull out so that the plants that need to grow can grow. Which is not an answer I would have thought of for restate, but restate actually means, in this case, rethink. Its values. It says, oh, it was past. That's why it didn't look right. It's use the lessons learned, and so that's kind of what's going to happen. And I posted on my website now when I finish the book, and it won't take me all that long to put them together. Oh, you can invite anybody into the garden. I will tell you one thing, Andrea, you cannot use the garden for, and I was on the phone this morning with Sheila of Celtic Tarot, which is what I will remind you. Tomorrow at this time, I will be on her channel, and I will be talking about not my garden, nothing to do with that. I'll be talking about how people can become active in politics on their own, how they can become an activist and push their own thinking. I'm going to be there with an old partner I had named Sean. We're going to be discussing that with Sheila. That ended up being the best time for all of us. And oh, it's not, you've never missed your transformation, Ronnie. It means your transformation isn't complete. You want me to see if you've done better? Anyway, back to Sheila. I'm going to be doing that show over with her tomorrow. back to my PDF. When I finish the PDF, it will be attached to my website in a way that those people who own the garden can download it so you can use it as a learning reference for yourself. And I'm also in late August, early September going to be teaching a class that's going to be a Zoom type class with about 20 people in it. It's going to be free. It's just for people who bought the garden, and it'll give me a chance. Every time I work with someone who's worked with the garden, I learn a whole lot. Sheila said she's been using it in some of her personal readings, private readings for people, and she said, I can read about them and their life circumstances. She said, I cannot read politics on the garden. And I said, woo-woo, that's what I wanted. I wanted something that was 4 and 5D, nothing dualistic. So we're going to see, though, about Ronnie's transformation. Okay. And it may have been just a transformation in that one part of your life. Remember, your life's constantly transforming all sorts of ways. But let's see where Ronnie goes. It's this summer, and it's your value system that's transforming. But let's see if we get any... Grounding, you've made some changes, and they're settling into the long term. Your spirit is between path forward, which we already just went through. Balance your energy to be able to move ahead, and you're moving into earth, which is spirit's transforming, but it's not yet finished. That doesn't mean you're not okay. This one says you're getting, in other words, parts of you are transforming, parts of you are changing, but you're not going to just change once all overnight. It takes a while for you to get there. And we've got mind and air. Your thinking's all important. Right now, your body's bounced between the past and the future, or the present and the future. So you've got you're a real interesting place, but your clarity is going to come in the future. So don't give up on it, Ronnie. What it says is you're moving forward. This tells me you're aware of a lot of the things that have shifted for you, but your spirit's still bringing more, and you just need to be ready for it. You didn't miss your transformation. If you expected yourself to transform all of a sudden in one day, it doesn't happen that way. It grows slowly. I just joined. The liberal ladies who lunch. Thank you. You know what I found out? One of the things I'm going to talk about tomorrow is indivisible groups. The closest indivisible group to my home physically now are called the GOAT. Girls Organized Against Tyranny. Isn't that a wonderful name? Yeah, but you got your training wheels on, Andrea, so that's not so bad. Okay, let's see. Somebody asked about someone's sobriety. Brandon. Okay, we're going to see what's the situation around Brandon's sobriety. His clarification rolled right off of past and restate. He's having a really hard time letting go. He's having a really hard time letting go. If he's in a 12-step program, that's really good for him because his drinking and his bad habits come straight out of his past. But what he's got going for him in the air, in this summer, this is where he is, his spirit really, really wants to move forward. It really does. He's transforming his thinking. His thoughts are all important, but his body is reluctantly moving forward. I think his sobriety is not so much based on a matter of will. I think it's a matter of have to. I think he got very, very sick. But far, far out here is clarification. And he has, in his clarification, he doesn't understand his dilemma all that well. And he's building answers on the lessons he's learning. So I think it's a little bit of a slow going thing for him, but I think he has there's a big chunks of him. His body, mind, and spirit are in moving forward and using his mind to get ahead. I think he has half a shot at this. If you said fear stops me from a lot, I have the worst social and general anxiety disorder. It's negative affected every aspect of my life. I hate being controlled by it. I want to get off this crazy train. A lot of anxiety. I know I have a family member who has really, really serious anxiety, and she finally went to a doctor who's their shrink. I mean, they're trained in using pharmaceuticals to help you. But she's going to a shrink here who does the DNA test to see which drugs are most effective for you. So if you ever think about going the pharmacologic route, and I've had friends do that. They use pharma to get them stable enough so they could get stable. I've also had friends who just worked it. Yep, it those two things can help, but not doing what you've always done. So if you can catch yourself before you go into another loop of what you've always done before, that will be helpful. Yeah, well, I think the whole thing of if you want something, to get off the crazy train and don't keep doing what you did to hurt yourself again, how insane is it that there's a shot people can take and not die and they don't take it? And then when they're dying, they say, "Oh my God, I should have taken the shot." That to me is just awful. Does anybody else have a question or a query or something? Because I have a couple of other things I pulled out to talk about today. One is from my favorite inner child cards. Love them. Pulled a card for today because I just felt like so much of this was about healing, getting better, and getting our own strength back. And I got the Fairy Godmother. And in the book, it describes the history of the Fairy Godmother, which is she comes out of ballads, fairy queen ballads. She was also addressed as the Queen of Heaven. Welsh fairies are known as the mothers. That's what they call them, the mothers. Not the way when we say, boy, are they a mother. I mean, I don't think that was the same kind of mother. Mother's blessings. Peasants called fairies godmothers and good ladies. They claimed the fairies could transform themselves into human form. And in the traditional tarot deck, this would be the high priestess. And the high priestess keeps things to herself, but she can be very transformative. And the other thing I'll read you about her is the fairy godmother is an enchantress, a holy sacred mother of ancient mysteries. She ushers in what we think we do not know and cannot have or dare not express. She offers our innate wisdom to believe in, be part of the miracles and the magic. Remember I said tourmaline forms magic in your soul? The magic of divine intelligence. She offers us the gifts of spirit, gifts of inner guidance and universal love. When this card appears in your reading, your higher mind knows the answer. Listen to your intuition. Cultivate your faith. Number 2 is the number of balance between the spiritual and the physical realms. It's also the balance from the inward way to the external path, just like the path forward starts inside and moves outside. It, too, is an emotional number and deeply sensitive. The two prominent fairy godmothers in The Wizard of Oz and Cinderella come in times of need and times of crisis. So if you didn't have those crises, you wouldn't have them. Fairy Godmother reminds you that the journey ahead, you will need to persevere, but you will accomplish your work. And she, as far as stars and things, she's related to the moon. Oh, I have one of those eldest sons, and I have also one of those dads. And he and I made peace after his dad died. I don't know where this guy's father is, but okay. But we're going to see. We're going to see about Jolene's eldest son. Actually, it's closer than you think. I don't think you'll hear it till next year, but he's got some good stones for this. For one, he's got the one right in the middle. He's got the pyrite. And that reads, mental actions help with abundance. Clarification comes from dealing with this past. It shows more is going to be brought forward. In other words, he is going to move forward. Grounding changes will settle out long-term patterns. So that's your very center stone. And that says where he is. And then in the air, we've got his spirit's going to transform thinking. And I think he's doing some thinking right now about it. You may not be aware of it, but he is. And he also has... his thinking right now is all important to this effort. He's clarifying into his clarification is moving into the future. It's moving in water. You'll have the clarity he needs. Follow one of the paths, and he will resolve his arguments inside himself. I think some of the things he's saying to himself now, he realizes that's stupid, that's not really right. And then the Tree of Life says that he's going to come to you in a real form where you can, and this is the farthest out. This would be like spring. It'll be in the spring next year, maybe. I think you're going to see glimmerings of it, though, because he's right in the middle of mulling this over in his mind. And so he's looking at it. He'll come back, because this means he's now looking at his dad, not in anything I say will hurt anybody. Yeah, I have a friend. He's a lovely person, but he's a giant ball of anxiety, and they would put him on meds, and they didn't work. He has very contraindicated things with other kinds of medicines, not just for things to help with your mind. And when he went and got that DNA done, they found out not only was that helpful for him with the meds that had to do with the shrink, but they also found out some of the things they were treating him with physically, his DNA was contraindicated. That's beautiful. Joe Janet, if you saw it, it says, "May my higher self meet with my son's higher self, with my higher power for our highest good." So everybody's vibration's getting lifted up in that. That would work. And like I said, if you could find tourmaline or rose quartz or something for healing, heal inside you the things that this situation has caused you to make you feel harmed. Heal those parts of yourself. It'll make getting back together easier. Andrea, I think I'm going to steal that prayer. Thank you for sharing it. Okay, third and last time, although I don't think that many new people have shown up. Tomorrow I won't be here. I will be on Celtic Tarot. Sheila will be doing how individuals can become activists in politics and how they can make their voice more clearly heard. It's always better kind of sometimes if you work as a crowd than if you work on your own. But we also talk about ways that individuals can make decisions just from their own perspective. And we're going to, I was just pulling cards this morning like the sun don't shine. And the card I pulled from this deck, this is one of my older decks, Gentle Wisdom of the Fairy Realm. I used to pull one of these a night to have a good thought before I went to sleep, and it really helps settle your sleep. So if you have a little trouble, sit around for a while trying to go to sleep. That's one thing that will work. Thank you. I would appreciate if you'd all wander on over to Sheila's channel tomorrow and visit with us. And have questions ready, because we're going to be taking questions off her chat. Okay, Sunshine. This is the card, and this is Challenge. And I don't know if you can see this, but it's a fairy, and she's sitting in a rose bush, and it says, and this fits totally with the path forward things, the having to let go. It says, step carefully and lightly around the thorns. Move forward, being aware that you are surrounded by great beauty and that the thorns are actually quite small. Remember, wherever there's a challenge, there's also an opportunity. So that's kind of where we are. Yes, the garden can give you progress report. People who use it in their home meditation corners Sometimes I just do one stone a day and roll it, and they get to understand and know what that stone means for them. Some people roll all 5. I have some descriptions that come with the instructions that explain to you how to do that. And, you know, I hope you are using the garden to progress. And if you have any comments, today in my description below I put my email where people can write to me and tell me what they've run into while they're working with the garden. And I think with that I am going to fold it up because I have to go to the rock shop. I'll show you what I'm up to. For those who don't know, I build crystal grids. I don't talk about that nearly enough. I'm going to start talking about it a lot more because I need to build more of them. But these are the 3 cards that I'm being built. This is Ladypool Delight. Her grid's going to be like that. Sensuality. And then Change. And Change is the one that the woman who won the grid from me in the drawing for making 2,000 members, that's her grid. And when they're finished, I will show them to you. But I have to go to the rock shop because I don't have enough yellow stones left. I have some lovely bumblebee jasper, but I'm missing some yellow calcite and a couple of other things that I need to do that. So, with that, I wish you all a lovely day. I will not see you here tomorrow. If you're used to coming in at this time, come in on Celtic Sheila. It will be whatever time you're on right now with me will be the time we're at hers. She's posting it as noon. That's noon Mountain Time. I'm Central, and some of you I know kind of where you are, and other ones not really. But thank you so much for joining me today, and thank you for being here, and I really love it.